Hello and welcome again to another episode of our podcast thing, I guess.
What was the last one?
Oh, geez, a month ago, maybe?
We're not good at this.
No,
Should be a weekly occurrence.
We can make it weekly if we do enough recordings in a short period of time.
Yeah, we might do that.
Anyhow, I'm Jay, and I have here with me my lovely...
Racc.
Racc, yes.
Which is short for raccoon, in case you were wondering.
Yes, Jay, of course, like a blue jay, some sort of bird. You can see the year has gotten to us. It's been a long year. It's been...
We haven't cannibalized anyone yet, but there are still a few days left until January 1st, so I'm hoping we might get to that point.
Great. Yeah, I mean, the last 12 months have been the longest 5 years of my life, so... And probably most other people around us.
Do you think I have more gray hairs than I had last year?
Oh, absolutely. You're growing into your beard now.
Oh, man. See? Like 2020 seeped into our bones.
Yeah, I'm going to come out the other side just... We'll talk about how we came out, actually, by the end of this year. It's been a year. But the reason we wanted to do this little podcast today... We're currently recording, it's December 29th, and we are in a mood of reflection and also looking forward, because that's what the end of the year does for you, right? It makes you look back, though no one wants to look back on this year, let's be honest. We all want to look forward, but we still see fires ahead of us, you know? So, in that spirit, on that note, this is usually the time of year where people make New Year's resolutions. And we wanted to talk a little bit about that because, as we often do, we have opposing opinions on this particular subject. On everything. It's amazing we work it all, right? And it'll become evident. You'll start seeing why we're doing this, because we have debates on everything, and I think the world deserves to hear our debates and pick a side, because we're competitive and we want someone to agree with us because the other one doesn't agree with us. Anyhow, resolutions.
The coffee's so good.
Sorry,
go on.
Yes.
Keep interrupting you.
Yes,
so rude.
You are very rude.
It's the coffee, it's the caffeine.
I know, you just half an hour ago you were like, I'm not awake, I don't care about anything.
Caffeine.
Do your own stuff. This is what I live with. Anyhow.
This is caffeinated Racc.
I'm wondering now how much of this I'm going to have to cut while I'm editing.
Keep it all. It's fun. It's banter. Banter is fun. People love banter. We'll get more subscribers. I like more than 0 subscriber.
Are more than 0 subscribers? Are more than 10 views?
If we add more banter and humor to our podcasts, no?
I mean, yeah, it's just, we'll have to figure out the right balance.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because there needs to be a balance, right? Like, we've now talked for Lord knows how many minutes, and we haven't even gotten to the point.
Okay. So what's the point, Jay?
The point is New Year's resolutions. Do we have any? Why or why not? If we have any, what are they? Right? And then explaining that. That's kind of the plan. That's a good idea. Short episode is probably going to be a short episode. I say,
or not.
Hopefully for editing purposes later, because I'm the one who edits all of this. Yes, because I am the tech savvy one.
Yes, I'm the technologically challenged one, relatively speaking.
Yeah, you just talk, and I edit. That's it, right?
Yeah. I talk and I drink and I know things.
Of course. Sometimes I think you drink and I know things.
Yeah. Keep saying that to yourself.
Anyhow, do we have New Year's resolutions? Do you have one, Racc?
Nope.
Do I? I do. Because no one asked me the question, so I had to ask myself the question.
Sorry.
Try that again.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions, Jay?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I do have New Year's resolutions.
So do you, punk?
So let's start with me, because you have none. You have nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Nil. Zilch. Nada.
0. Goose eggs. Love. Anyhow, I have a few New Year's resolutions this year. My first one.
So are we starting with me or not? Because you just said let's start with you.
Let's not start with you.
Oh, sorry. Misunderstood. Okay, go ahead.
I have a few New Year's resolutions for next year, for 2021. The biggest one for me is to be healthier. And when I say this, I don't mean, oh, I gotta eat right and exercise and get super buff. No, I mean I need to reclaim what health I lost this year. And it's not going to take a year to reclaim everything I lost this year. It's going to take many years because my health deteriorated dramatically over this year for a number of reasons and in a number of ways. And I struggled for a long time to figure out why. We all did. So now that we have some sort of idea of what's going on with me, we're working towards treatment plans to kind of improve and to mitigate any further complications or difficulties that I may face in the future. So by the end of next year, I want to be able to say that, yes, I am healthier than I was at the end of 2020. Not that I'm as healthy as I was 2 years ago or years before that, just before this year. I just want to be in a better place than I have been this year. That is my main goal. And I feel that all my other resolutions kind of tie back into that one. And I think it's really good that we're getting to kind of record this because I have, sometimes we sit and we write down things. And now I'm getting the chance to have it very concretely in audio out in the world, which I think puts a little bit of pressure, some external motivation to keep up with the resolutions. Of course, I have a lot of internal motivation to do it, but to have it out here on the internet, I can, a year from now, take these clips and look at them and look back and be like, did I do what I set out to do? Which I think is really cool. But anyhow, all my goals and other resolutions are related to this idea of health. My next resolution would be to kind of really reinvigorate, it's not the word I'm looking for, but getting more into my passions and hobbies, being really back into that. I watched a movie over the weekend, Soul. I adore it. And there's a scene in this film where you see the main character just completely and utterly consumed in his passion. And it's been a long time since I felt that way. And I watched that scene and I cried because I miss so badly feeling that way. And it's going to take time for me to get back into that feeling the way that main character felt when they're engaging with their passion. So I want to work really hard on doing that. And I have multiple interests and passions. I have music, I have crafting, I have writing, I have learning languages, I have playing video games and reading books. I have a lot. And this year I did next to none of any of them. And if I did them intensely for short bursts without ever really getting back into them the way I wanted to. So reigniting that passion within me for the things I love is something I want to do. And re-engaging, that's what I was looking for. Re-engaging with my interests and passions. My third resolution is to reconnect with my loved ones and the people around me, because of course this year has been hard to connect with people because we can't physically connect, and that's usually how I connect with people. I've never been, when I was younger it would be just messaging people all the time, but we'd always reconvene together. I only messaged people who I actually saw all the time, and now that physical closeness, gets lost. And I will admit that I stepped back from all forms of media. I ignored messages. I didn't talk to people. I didn't reach out, even though I wanted to. And for me, that was because, like I said, my health was not going well. It wasn't just like I had a cold and then another cold or anything. It was just things kept getting dramatically worse, alarmingly worse for me. And that doesn't just affect me. That affects the people around me. And so, of course, the conversations with people around me, with the people I love and who love me, was always around my health and how my health was doing. And for most of this year, my health was not doing good. Even now, my health is not doing good, but it's doing better, you know? And I don't blame anyone for that, you know, because it comes from a place of concern. It comes from a place of love. But it got to the point where, for me at least, in my brain, it was just to have to talk about it again it just made me sad again. You know, I'd be in a good place and then I'd see a message from someone and I wouldn't want to respond because I knew the conversation is going to come back to how's your health doing? And I never had anything good to say about that, so it would just make me sad. And again, it's my fault for not articulating this with people around me. But I was in survival mode. I need to just take care of whatever I can in my little world. And when you're in that mode, you don't necessarily think of what's going on outside you and how it might affect other people. So I do apologize for not responding as much as I would have liked to, because I wanted to, and it became something so daunting, so overwhelming, something that I knew was going to make me sad instead of happy. And that's why I stopped doing it. But now that I'm in a better place, I think I'm going to work on reaching back out to the people, because I'm now in a place to accept love and care and support from other people, partially because I'm in a better place health-wise, and I feel like I have better things to say, and I feel like my health doesn't have to be the major conversation of every day, and every conversation I have with people. So I want to make the effort, and even if, you know, it will take time to readdress some of these conversations, but now I'm in a place where I can navigate and choose how I respond to those conversations and choose how I change the conversation about myself and my health when I'm talking to other people. And I didn't have the strength or capacity to do that before. So that's why it's important to me to reconnect with these people I love, regain this support system, because it's so important. And those are my resolutions. Now, as for why I have resolutions at all, is for me, it's motivation. For me, it's a little bit of hope that something will be different when the clock strikes 12 on December 31st and we move into January 1st. There's a hope, and our brains are really good at resetting around certain things. Like, you walk through a threshold and you don't remember something because your brain is reset. It has cleared something out and is ready for something new. And I think the new year does that for a lot of people. I think my resolutions will stick this year compared to other years because they're not frivolous things. They're not things that I didn't already want to do, that I wasn't already making steps towards. And they are things that I really and truly need to do. And I recognize that. I need these things in my life, or I'm going to stay where I am. I'm not going to continue to heal and grow and change as a person, which is what I need. And I think that's a good thing to think about if you're making resolutions. Do you need this thing? If you need this thing and you are very intrinsically and extrinsically motivated for it, then you'll do it. But for me, it is just that kind of hope and that ability to look back on something and see it. So I've made resolutions every year, and I think this year I've made the most realistic resolutions I've ever made. And with that, I think I will be able to achieve them. That's me. that's all I have to say on that matter. It sounded really serious and deep. I know.
It did sound serious.
It was
Which
a
is why I
serious
didn't interrupt you.
Oh, and I appreciate that so much. I really appreciate
I can't control myself, you know?
Yeah, you can just choose not to interrupt. But I truly, truly appreciate that. And I hope, I mean, for me, it felt like I was having a very serious discussion with
Yourself.
whoever I'm speaking with on the other side. Not with myself.
Okay.
Not with myself. But whoever happens to listen to this. If you do happen to listen this far, thank you. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I appreciate it. Truly. Deeply. But, I mean, I'm sitting right beside someone who has no resolutions.
Nope.
And that's fine too. But why? Why?
Well, first of all, I've never really been big on resolutions. The only time I actually wrote down a list of resolutions was last year, and that was prompted by the person next to me. I wonder why. I think I did actually achieve some of those objectives. I would need to like find the list and read it all over again. It's somewhere around here. But I remember some of those. There were like 10 of them or so.
Maybe. You had a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty much sure some of them I did actually like complete some of those objectives. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I've never been really big on it. And I'm not quite sure why, to be honest. I'm not quite sure why. But this year, of course, was quite challenging in many ways. And I feel like I've matured to some extent. I've been thinking a lot about goals in general. So I'm a very goal-oriented person. That's my temperament. And I think having goals is important, right? Because you don't want to push yourself, right? You do want to have something to live for. But if you always like look beyond yourself, how are you going to find the time to actually enjoy your life as it is? I realized that if you always, project into the future, you're going to forget, about living in the present, which is something that a lot of people struggle with, not just myself. I think you also struggle with it.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of people struggle with that. Many of us just live in the past or the future. But living in the present is, I think, much more difficult because the present doesn't really exist in a way. This is the present. What I just said a few seconds ago is no longer the present, right?
Yeah.
It's the past. Present is very hard to seize. And I guess as humans, we like to think a lot and we like to make plans, right? To improve our living conditions.
Yeah.
But is there like a threshold, and maybe beyond that threshold you think too much and you make your life worse because you're never really satisfied with what you have? And you can have quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, right now we have our share of struggles, which I'm not going to get into.
Yeah, but I would like to mention, having a background in psychology, you know, anxiety is always a forward-thinking.
Oh, for sure.
Illness.
Yeah.
So if you do think too much and you worry, worry is future-oriented.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
It's never present-oriented. It's future-oriented. Yeah. And depression is very past-oriented.
Yeah.
It's very much like, what did you do? I shouldn't have done that. I'm a bad person because of everything I have done. That kind of thinking. So you're right, when you think too far ahead or too far back, it does cause pain and can cause illness, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's I think it's good to remember that each and every one of us has things that he or she cares about, things that make our lives better. Even if you do struggle with particular challenges, there's always something you have, right, in the moment. Like right now, I'm alive, which is nice. A lot of people can't say that about themselves. I'm alive and I'm reasonably healthy, and I'm have a good education. I'm well read, etc. So there are things that I'm happy with, right? And I think it's important to just, sit down and remember that you do have things, going for yourself. You have achieved things in the past, and you have certain qualities. When I say you, I mean each and every one of us, really.
Yeah.
So it's good to remember that. Right. And I've been doing a lot of mindfulness meditation lately with my wonderful partner. And I think mindfulness has helped me quite a bit, explore some of these ideas that I've just been discussing with you, my silent audience. So mindfulness, for those who don't know, is a type of meditation that strives on focusing on your body, right? So you kind of try to block out all the thoughts and images that constantly slither through your mind, and you just focus on your bodily sensations. One example of mindfulness is to focus on your breathing. Very simple, right?
And something about that very much is mindfulness is very present oriented.
Exactly.
Because you can only experience the sensations as they happen.
Exactly. You sit down, you close your eyes, you focus on the feeling of your breath against the nostrils. And ultimately, that allows you to gain a better understanding of how your body works. You become more sensitive, more tuned to bodily sensations. And that in itself is actually calming. So there's quite a large body of evidence showing that people who practice mindfulness meditation regularly, that's the key here, regularity, are calmer, have less anxiety, and also have better focus, right? And also, there appears to be some evidence that even some illnesses may be improved by the practice of mindfulness, which is pretty amazing.
Mental illness for sure.
Yeah, but even physical conditions, apparently.
Yes.
So there's something to say about,
pain-related conditions.
Yeah, the ability to focus your mind on, what's present and what's natural, and just trying to, get rid of all the extraneous thoughts that just cause more anxiety. There's even some evidence that apparently psoriasis, which is a inflammatory skin condition, can improve with mindfulness. So maybe there's this connection between anxiety and inflammation, right?
Well, I mean, maybe we should talk about the fact that we have an instructor. We do this as a group session. Highly recommend if you can find an instructor of some sort to do it with an instructor, because I spent years doing it through the Headspace app, guided meditation, which is a great starting point, mind you. Like, for just trying to dip your toes into it, you can get the 10-day thing for free, and they have a few other things. I would highly recommend downloading Headspace, but if you really want to get deeper, and
we should get paid for this.
Right, sponsor us, Headspace. I've been using you for years. I love you. Please sponsor me. Anyhow, if you really want to, dig deeper, do find some sort of coach or instructor, because it changed the game for me, and I think it changed it for Racc as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because he'd done meditation with yoga, but like once you really just make it the main focus, it changes everything.
It really, I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and I feel like it's really improved my concentration and also my anxiety. So it does work, and I haven't been doing it every day. So if I did it every day, I suspect the benefits would be even greater.
Yeah, it's like working out, for example.
Exactly.
You could work out 10 minutes twice a week, and you're going to see results. Yeah. But if you work out 30 minutes a day, every single day, the speed at which you'll see your results is exponential, right?
But I have to emphasize that it's difficult, right? It takes practice to really try to block out thoughts and images. And in fact, you can't really block them out. It's easier to just accept them as they come.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the easier it will be to accept them and just put them aside.
Yeah.
The whole practice of mindfulness is about accepting your body.
Yeah.
Not in the whole body positivity thing,
but accepting
the sensation. So if you're in pain, you kind of ease into the pain instead of blocking it out and resisting it. If you have a lot of intrusive thoughts, you accept them and you ease into those thoughts, and after a while they become less bothersome.
Yeah.
So it's very nice. You bend instead of
Yeah,
breaking.
exactly. It's
That sounds very much like Eastern philosophy, which I don't know much about. So please don't
well, I mean,
attack me on this.
But Eastern medicine has kind of made a bit of a comeback in terms of, like, East meets West in medicine these days.
Holistic medicine,
because
right?
because of holistic medicine, because we're very now patient-centered. It is quite the tangent, but it is a fun tangent to have. You know, my health stuff, we've turned closer to the Eastern medical way of thinking rather than just solving everything with pills. And it was where I started to improve, you know, and this is part of that.
Yeah, but you know, some like non-conventional health practices, there's actually evidence backing them up. So this isn't about mysticism here.
Exactly.
There's evidence that shows that acupuncture or mindfulness work. We don't quite know how they work, but they do work because there's a strong connection between the mind and the body. I mean, the mind has a physical support, which is the brain. So of course they're connected. And the mind does influence the body. If you're chronically stressed, you will develop physical conditions. That's well known.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we are people of science, so we're scientists, we are researchers, so we're not out here just putting out anything that we don't believe there is strong scientific evidence for that we have not seen ourselves. That's important to note. But you know, we're believers now in a way. We believe in this because there was proof showing it would work, which is why we dipped our toes in, and now we're in it, and it has very positively impacted our lives. But to ever think that it will be easy, that is the biggest lie that Western medicine, I feel, has sold to us, is that it's so easy. It's so easy to lose weight. It's so easy to get better, you know? It just take this pill, drink this drink, do these simple steps.
Yeah, I don't think it's medicine per se. I think it's just
Western society.
People trying to profit off medicine, right?
Of course, but
because doctors will never really tell you that it's easy to lose weight. They know it's hard.
Of course
it's not easy to you know, quit smoking. It's very hard.
Yes,
and you have to be honest about that and upfront with your, you know, with people who try to do it.
No, for sure. But it would be a lie to say that pharma does not benefit from this.
Oh, for sure. But pharma and medicine are, you know, separate entities, which do converge in some ways, but they're separate. They have separate objectives.
But in the collective conscious, they are one and the same.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's important to note that, right? That Western society as a whole has sold us this idea that it's quick and easy to do it, whereas Eastern medicine has never done that, you know? Again, we're not experts, but based on what we've learned with our experiences with more medicine and healing practices rooted in more Eastern philosophy, there's not a single point in time through this process that we've been told, you're going to do it once, you're going to feel amazing, and that's why you're going to keep doing it. We've been told it's hard. Yeah. It's hard, and you're going to have to keep doing it, and every time you do it, it'll be just a little less hard until you start seeing benefits, right?
Yeah. But just try to be a bit fair towards Western medicine.
Of course, it's more Western society.
Yeah. Western medicine is very rigorous, and there are very few magic bullets in medicine, and doctors are usually upfront about that.
Yeah, it's pharma that sells the lie.
Very few treatments will actually improve your condition radically. Very few.
Yeah.
Usually the benefits are incremental, and you have to pursue sometimes multiple treatments at the same time or sequentially.
I know that.
To really gain all the benefits you want to gain, right?
Yeah.
So there's no easy way out. Sorry, folks.
Unfortunately, and I mean, I know that all too well because I've spent this whole year I've lost count of all the treatments I've done this year to try and reclaim my health. And, you know, every single time it was keep at it, keep working, keep going, you know. But it is something, you know, if you're not motivated to keep doing it, then it will not happen. And that is equally true for a resolution.
Oh, for sure.
Right? The bottom line is, if you're going to have a resolution, you have to know you have to keep working at it every single day for you to experience any kind of change.
That's a very good point.
In your life.
Same thing with exercise.
Right?
For sure.
So even though you don't have any resolutions, are you doing things next year that will be different than how you did things this year?
Yeah. So, well, if I had to have a resolution, I would say it's, exercise, because I haven't been doing much this year for obvious reasons. So
you were a gym rat, and now the gyms are closed.
Oh yeah, so
you were a gym rack, and now
I was
the
a
gyms
gym
are
rack,
closed.
and I'm a slob. So yeah, definitely want to make the best of our situation and start this home program with stretches and resistance training, and maybe also some cardio. Who knows? That would be nice. So that's one thing I want to work on, but without really making it a resolution per se, because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. I want to be realistic about this goal. It's not easy to start exercising, as I'm sure everyone knows. It's better to do it gradually than just jump into it, and that's what I'll be doing step by step. Yeah, that's the main thing I want to work on, because I do feel like I'm in a good place in my life right now. I've attained many of my objectives, and though I do have certain long-term goals, I don't want to be obsessed with them. So the first thing that really helped me realize that I should really focus more on the present is mindfulness. The other thing that really helped me is reading this book, which I want to talk about quickly. So it's a book on political philosophy, written by somebody you might not have heard of, Max Stirner. That's Stirner. So Stirner is a bit of a forgotten figure of 19th century philosophy, but he was a disciple of Hegel, so to speak. And he wrote this book in the 1840s, which I'm reading in French right now, so I'm reading the French translation. The original title, for those of you who speak German, is Der Einzige und sein Eigentum, which can be apparently translated word for word as The Unique and His Property, which is also the title of my French translation, Unique et sa propriété. So anyway, to summarize it, this is a very controversial book, and it was certainly controversial back in the day as well. Stirner praises the philosophy of egoism, which is essentially live for yourself, but it's not quite that simple. He makes some very interesting points, and I think one of the most interesting ones is that it's so easy for us to become enslaved to ideas and ideals and ideologies and all sorts of sacred obligations imposed on us by society and religion, and we forget who we really are, right? As an individual, you have to think about your own needs. Like, do I really want to do this? Is this what is really fulfilling for me? And so many things that we do in our lives are not fulfilling in any way for us. We simply do what we are told to do. And we think that it's our obligation to do so. But is it now? Is it? Does society really care about us? It does not. Society simply views us as a statistic, a cipher. Only individuals care about us as individuals. So if you want to truly be satisfied with yourself, it's better to view yourself in your individuality and view others in their individuality instead of viewing yourself as an abstract concept or viewing others as abstract concepts. So basically Stirner goes on this rant against all the idols of of society, and that includes a lot of idols like family, law, morality, religion, and pretty much every single political ideology out there. Nationalism, democracy, with liberalism, socialism. He spares no one. And his point is, you can have ideas. Of course you can. You're a human. You have ideas. But once these ideas possess you, you are their slave. So you should make sure that you are their possessor. So they're your property, and that's the whole point of the title, right? You are the unique, the individual. No one is like you. No one will ever be like you. And you should be the owner of your ideas. This way, you retain some degree of freedom towards them, and you have that kind of flexibility that allows you to say, well, I used to believe in this, but I no longer do, so I can just separate myself from that idea and move on to something else because I've grown as an individual. If you become enslaved to an idea, you will never really be truly happy. The book is not about happiness per se, it's about freedom, obviously. But I think the idea that we are possessed by, well, ideas is very, very profound. And indeed, if you think about it, we all are enslaved to various concepts and ideas. We struggle living in the present. We struggle living in our individual body, in our individual mind, because we give so much importance to things that are beyond us, right? We're always told, well, you have to live for a greater goal, or you have to live for other people. And you can if you want to, but at the end of the day, what do you really want? And if you want to pursue altruism as your life's goal, you can do it, of course, but is it something you want to do, or is it something that your parents tell you to do, society tells you to do, your teachers tell you to do? So think about that and be in control of your life goals and your ideas. So I'm kind of simplifying the book, but that's one of the main arguments, and I think it's very valid. Mm-hmm. So instead of prescribing goals to myself as absolutes, right? I have to do this and this and that. Yeah. Well, I'll try to be more flexible. So yes, I do have short-term and long-term goals, but I'm not going to be a slave to them. I'm going to try to live my life, with some degree of flexibility and freedom. And these goals may change eventually. I'm not just going to become obsessed with these goals. I do want to, push myself, but ultimately I don't want to live outside of myself all the time, which is something that I've done in the past, right? Always live for the future. You don't want to do that. You want to live for who you are in the present and enjoy what you have. And if you want to pursue something else, do it, but without compromising your integrity as an individual and ultimately your mental health. Yeah. Because pursuing long-term goals can do that for really all of us, really. We become consumed with these goals that we forget that ultimately they're not us. And we should always be able to tell those goals, well, I don't need you anymore, or I'm going to put you aside for a while while I focus on something else. So yeah, that's what I had to say.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And I mean, it also avoids disappointment that comes, and the self-loathing, the disappointment with not achieving the goal. I think it speaks to a mentality of self-care and self-respect.
Sure.
That we have lost. Many of us just, will beat ourselves up over the littlest of things. And self-care has become an important thing. It's not just some buzzword. It's you need to take care of yourself because no one else will take care of you as well as you can take care of you.
So, in my perspective, I really want to stress that self-care doesn't mean that you should be lazy, right?
Exactly.
Self-care simply means that you respect your person.
Yeah, self-respect maybe.
Which is very obvious, right? Yeah. It doesn't mean you can't push yourself, right? It doesn't mean you're soft on yourself necessarily. You just respect yourself and your boundaries and your limits, and you're willing to set time aside for yourself instead of always just living outside of yourself in other people or in objects and goals. You're not your wealth, you're not your family, you're not your profession. Those are part of you, but they don't define you entirely.
Exactly. So I guess the note we want to leave everyone on, because this went a couple different directions, as our conversations usually do when they are unscripted. Take care of yourself, respect yourself. If you have anything that you want to look forward to in the future, it should focus on those aspects, I guess.
Yeah, because ultimately, you are the only one who fully knows yourself. So it's really common sense that if you want to improve your life, you should be the starting point for that.
Yeah. But, I mean, on that note, we wish you a better 2021 than 2020, regardless of what the world around us brings. Stay hopeful, stay healthy, stay safe, stay loving and kind, and stay self-respecting. And with that, we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Ooga chaka, ooga,
When you
ooga,
hold
ooga chaka, ooga,
in your
ooga,
arms
ooga
so
chaka,
tight,
ooga,
you let
ooga,
me know
ooga chaka, ooga,
everything's
ooga, chaka,
alright.
ooga, ooga.
I'm
I'm hooked on a feeling. Oh god, that was bad.